Doing more testing on the Arca rails today. Going to figure out the correct screw tightness for the recoil screws that go in these holes, and also the M-lock screws that go in those ones. Shouldn't need a torque screwdriver or torque wrench on any of these, but I am going to figure out what the correct force is for anybody that's curious. I'm going to see how we install these recoil screws right here. They don't take a lot of force to put in, but they are pretty snug. I designed these so that when they're molded, only half of the thread is molded and the rest is just a bare hole, so that you can thread it in easily to get it started. But then once you get it in all the way, it's going to start tightening up. Think like a nylock nut is exactly how I designed these. So I want to figure out exactly what amount of torque it takes. You don't need a torque screwdriver. Just getting it snug with an Allen key is enough, and it already feels pretty tight. So just getting it down there is good enough. And just like any other material, if you put it in too tight, you will strip the threads out. So we're going to figure out exactly what torque it takes. Right now I'm set at 5 inch-pounds. Doesn't take a whole lot. 5 inch-pounds is fine. We'll do it again on this one just to see if that's all it takes. Might take a little bit more than 5 inch-pounds. We can bump it up to 10 here. So 10 inch-pounds. Yeah, about 10 inch-pounds. Between 5 and 10. Honestly, it's probably best to just do it with an Allen key and go down till you're snug. Like I said, this really doesn't take a whole lot. Still recommended to use blue Loctite, but the idea was that you wouldn't need it if you didn't have it. All right, and for my favorite part today, we're going to do some destructive testing. So I built a new contraption for testing the recoil strength of my recoil screws. Let's see if we can break something. All right, this is my very fancy test apparatus. I've got an Arca clamp and this nice little scale that I made with my tape measure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this. It's going to rest on these lugs here, and I'm just going to do some drop tests. So stick that in there, tighten it up nice and snug like you would a normal Arca rail, and let's do some weights. 2.5 pounds, 18-inch drop. 5 pounds, 18-inch drop. 10 pounds, 18-inch drop. 25 pounds, 18-inch drop. And that is what we call success. That was pretty fun. So now that I know what it takes to break it, let's see exactly how much it can stand and not break. So I know it's somewhere between 10 and 25 pounds. So I'm gonna bump it up to 15 pounds this time. 15 pounds, 18-inch drop. Interesting to note that after 15 pounds, they're not really even bending. 17.5 pounds, 18-inch drop. Did it again. All right, so we broke it again. I actually really like doing that. It's a lot of fun. So figured it out. 15 pounds is the most that these can take without breaking or even bending the screws out of here. So I'm gonna run over to the computer, do some calculations, and figure out exactly what 15 pounds at 18 inches is. All right, just because I'm an engineer doesn't mean I like doing math. So I have my good friend ChatGPT do all the calculations for me. And this is what it told me. It said that the energy from a 15-pound weight dropped to 18 inches comes out to about 22.5 foot-pounds of torque. And on a 5.56 NATO rifle recoil, which is what I'm going to be shooting at today, it is about 4 foot-pounds. So the energy from that drop at 15 pounds was about 5 times, a little bit over 5 times as much energy, which is pretty good. Means that it can take a lot more than what your rifle is going to put into it. Going by to go look for that broken rail after I dropped the 17.5 pounds on it, and it wasn't on the floor anywhere, and I realized it was still in the fixture. I didn't break it. I broke the screw that was holding the fixture. So that's good news. All right, so now we're out here at the range. Store was closed, and I only had 40 rounds. So we're gonna do 40 round test here. Just a quick magged up to see how these recoil lugs hold up. So here I go, I got it assembled here on the rifle. Gonna stick it in my Arca clamp here on the tripod, and let's dump some rounds. All right. Checking out my screws. Nice and snug, exactly the way they were when I put them in. So no bending. Looks like it holds up just fine. All right, so that's about all the testing I can think of doing on these things right now. I did do a sun test where I just left them out in the sun all day. Nothing really happened. It wasn't very exciting, so I didn't put it on video. Actually, no, I guess I could go hit these with the hammer and see what happens. Kind of bends. Don't hit it with the hammer. That really does conclude day 2 of testing. Recoil screws work exactly the way I wanted them to. They tighten in the way I wanted them to, and they can withstand more than the force that's necessary when shooting them on a tripod. So that was a success. It was fun getting out there on the range. It was fun breaking them. Don't hit them with the sledgehammer, guys.